some reason it took a fat dump. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Not entirely sure what happened. Yeah, this is a Schizoid offline stream TV. God damn it. Not sure what caused that particular situation. Everything was fine up until a certain point, and then it just kind of fell apart on me. Oh wait, that sounds familiar. Let me repost this shit. Does it give a fuck? Let's see here. God, a fucking mess. Anyway, there it is. Lord, yes, BB, this is the offline stream. Apparently, that wasn't what the intention. That wasn't the intention of the stream. Might as well delete the other one. It was just nothing but me listening to music and then eventually talking and saying something about it, and then it collapsing in on itself. So that's great. But I'm too lazy to go back and delete it right now, so maybe later. Lazy or just exhausted? How do you tell the difference? It's actually an important question, I think. How do you tell the difference? Like my poll is gone that I had up. It's awful, awful, awful. I had my poll and I wanted to see the votes on it, and it's just it doesn't matter. I'll try that poll another time. Today's probably not a good day for it anyway. Probably not the best day for it, regardless. Lord. All right, so who's on here? Who's bothering with this at this point? Only two of you. Well, welcome the two people that are here. I guess the reason it's frustrating is because like I have like how do I explain it? Like I have a certain amount of energy in mind. Like okay, things are flowing. I'm trying to get into this like flow, and then the stream just takes a big shit, and I'm like, okay, cool, and then it just kind of like resets everything mentally, and I'm frustrated because I'm like, oh great, I have to get back into this flow that I was already in again. Shit's so goddamn aggravating. I'll be honest. Happy day. Oh, it's a. Oh well, thank you, Trudy. Well, now I have to make it a happy day. You're giving me $10. That's without saying. Are you having a happy day, or are you just saying like happy day in general? So if you're having a happy day, I'd like to hear about it, Trudy. I know you're not somebody that has happy days all the time. So if you are having a happy day, I'd like to hear why it's a happy day. It's always nice to have a happy day. You gotta remember happy days as much as you can during tough times. Why is this not? Is it refreshing? Why is it not showing? It's supposed to. God, everything sucks. Wow, it's acting stupid. You always remember? Oh, okay, good. You always have to remember happy day. That's good. Man. I just felt like today I'm in the mood for just kind of rambling about whatever. Nothing in particular. If somebody wants something in particular, then just mention it. I'll go for that. I'll adjust to that. I don't care. But myself at the moment, I'm just I'm into whatever you feel like discussing or taking part in. I'm fine with it. I don't have any illusions as to how the stream needs to go today. So, because of that reason, I'm going to go ahead and unmute on the Annex Live thing. So, I am on here if you want to talk or say whatever. I am available, if you will, for any conversation of any topic, of any degree. Usually, I can kind of get into any topic for the most part and then just get the ball rolling. And once that happens, well, distractions occur, and a lot of the time, whatever discomfort I am undergoing um, dissolves temporarily. So that's always good. It's always a helpful thing. So today, like I mentioned, I don't have anything in particular in mind. I can talk about literally fucking anything. Like, if you want to jump on my stream or type something in chat about whatever the hell is bothering you right now, whether it's something personal or abstract or weird or kind of just like a subject or a news article or a thing that's just like eating at you that day for whatever reason, like I can work with that. I'm having some extremely shitty symptoms, currently having nervous bodily shaking, can hardly type, but I'm okay. Well, if you want to get on the stream, Trudy, and talk about how you're feeling as it's happening, you're more than welcome to. No judgment, and out of pure curiosity and interest in trying to maybe relate that back to people that might be undergoing similar. So when they watch this, so it's the only reason. Not some sick, morbid curiosity or some need to exploit your terror and discomfort on a stream for content just because of my genuine interest in what you're experiencing. So, uh, but that's just, if you want to. If that's not a thing you want to do, then obviously it's not a requirement of any kind in any capacity. Oh, Lord. Basically, I need an outside external force to wake me up out of this internal slumber currently. If anybody's interested, but I don't think at the moment too many people are, because I think they might be doing something else. I would, but might make me worse. Still happy to chill here with you. Okay, then hang back, Trudy. Fuck no, I don't want to do anything to make it worse. Jesus, just hang out. Trudy, you're a wholesome person. Your company is always appreciated. Wholesome individual. Uh, I know that I think there's only like two of you watching right now, but throw a topic at me. Throw some thoughts. What's going through your mind right now? So that I can kind of ramble about it for a bit. God, Antonia sucks. It's annoying. It's hard to describe some days. Adrenal system dysregulation. I don't know if I've ever. I don't know if that I've had a dysregulation that's consistent, but as far as adrenal systems go and having adrenaline rushing through your body when it's not a correct time for it to happen, merely because of psychological triggers. Oh yeah, I know that feeling. As far as that goes, I'm sure it's totally different, but feeling like I'm losing my mind and my grip on reality for a period of time in which panic attacks are hitting. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know that much. I've experienced that much, so um, I'm familiar with at least that much of what you might be describing. Man. What's funny is the only thing I don't like about having very few people watching isn't because there's very few people watching. I could care less about that. It's because for me it's a calm mind, not panic body. Oh, that's good. Well, I don't know if that's good, but I don't know if that's better. But it depends on your own subjective experience. But the thing that bothers me about not having many people on watching is that there isn't a lot of interaction in chat or anybody that's probably going to jump on the stream to distract me and produce their own kind of uh, vocalizations or otherwise or thoughts so that I can kind of bounce off them, think about them, and contemplate things outside of my own mind. Um, I would say that's probably like the most unfortunate part about the stream. Not possessing as many people as I like. It's just the lack of communication is just going to make me stay inside my head longer, which oftentimes doesn't exactly translate to particularly interesting content as well as um, motivating or alleviating topics for people listening. I hate it. Not a fan of that occurring. Like some part of me wants most of the streams that I do to be either interesting or educational in some capacity if people have questions, or alleviating or the calming of specific types of kind of very existentially difficult thoughts and feelings. Um, that's usually what I'm aiming to kind of help alleviate as your little online schizoid friend. But it's a difficult process. It's a difficult process. But yeah, if anybody's bored, just throw a topic at me. I'll get started. Even if I don't know anything about it, I'll fucking look it up. I don't figure something out. It's rare that I hear something I don't know about and not be interested in looking it up or become curious about it to some capacity. Yeah, this is probably going to be one of those like incredibly skippable streams. I feel guilty, honestly, when I do a stream like this. When I do a stream that's like, it feels like it's nothing. It feels like it's not contributing anything. There's some kind of weird sense of guilt because it's not working toward my intentions. It's not working toward my bigger ideas about what it is I'm trying to advocate and talk about. I mean, I can make a justification for why it is, but it feels a little more empty than usual. Yeah, yeah, it's rough because my head, my mind is going empty mode, which is rare, honestly. And when it's not empty, it's like being intruded upon by just completely asinine bullshit and thoughts that wouldn't serve for as any purpose for anyone listening. So I contributed to you today just being here. Well, that's good, Trudy. I'm glad. I like helping nice people like you, Trudy. Being of any use to quality individuals by my standards is something I appreciate being able to do. That's why I like sometimes I'll do when I'm feeling particularly useless, just um, my energy levels aren't where I wish it would be, and everything's kind of fluctuating. That's why I've done like previous streams where I just kind of play music and I just sit there and listen to it because in my mind, I just figure, well, that's just as useful as me saying anything because at this point, anything I say is just going to be nonsense um, of some kind. It's probably going to be of very little value to anyone. So if what you're looking for today, listening to the stream, is to find a disheartened, disappointed individual on the internet with a similar predisposition toward the pessimistic that feels like doing very little and feels rather unmotivated and um, uninterested in making any changes as to making said stream more motivating and interesting. Um, well, you've tuned into the right stream. So that's it. If that's what you jumped on for, you sure shit tuned into the right stream. You call this schizoid useless garbage stream. To be honest, I'm kind of in the mood to just hear another person's voice tell me about whatever random story or thought they're having about anything. Today I'm one of those moods today where I'm just incredibly bored with my own thoughts. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone listening. Incredibly bored with my own thoughts today. Bordering on just disgusted by my own cognition and thoughts at the moment. It's not always that way, but at the moment, that's how I feel. So that's why I'd rather hear someone else's thoughts. I don't want to hear my own at the moment. I'm so fucking tired all the time. So if anybody has anything of interest they want to see in chat so that I can talk about anything, um, I'm absolutely interested in that. Or if you want to jump in the VC that I'm in right now on the Zoe Void and talk to me about whatever topics on your mind, I don't care what the topic is. And if you're joining this stream, it's probably going to be kind of weird or seemingly mundane, but not at least to the individual. So I'm willing to listen on that. Um, Shruti says, I've been reading about Addison and Cushing disease symptoms. Why have you been reading about that, Shruti? Pale Boy says, poetry, question mark. Okay. Well, what about poetry? Are you asking my opinions on poetry, or you want me to read a specific piece of poetry or something? I'm not sure what you're referring to, Pale Boy. Somebody wants to super chat me to read some fucking poem. I'll read it. I like poetry. I enjoy it. Delayed sleep syndrome. I don't think I'm that familiar with that one, though I think I've heard of it before. So as far as poetry goes, I find it to be incredibly enjoyable and a productive way to use one's time, especially when existential questions and other forms of emotional difficulties are being put forward. It absolutely is of great value. Somebody might say, "Oh, poetry, who cares? What does it really do?" Well, if it regulates or if it mood regulates or helps an individual that has a significant amount of power and control over a variety of factors in human society, if they just happen to be in that position, maybe writing a poem will make the difference between, some aspect of complete annihilation and not. So, or it might do the opposite. That's what's interesting about poetry, right? Depending on what poem they write, it might be more prone to wanting to put an end to many things. Otherwise, have I read anything by Charles Bukowski? I'm not really good with names, but if you want me to read a Charles Bukowski poem, you have two options. You can join my Patreon and put it in the gotcha, so for when I do a gotcha stream, or you can just super chat me for like fucking whatever, $2-3, and just give me the link. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it lets you drop a link here, so you're chatting. Pretty sure. Or you can just write the title. I'll look it up myself as a super chat. So that's one option. And then I'll read it. Whatever. Super chat. What an absurd notion. One thing that I find, this is kind of channel related, but one thing that I find kind of odd is like, there'll be like these weird choke points when it comes to subscribers for my channel that will like last for a while, and then once they're overcome, it'll like keep shooting up for a while. It's really strange. Like at the moment, I've been at 1.69k, so it's like almost 1,700 subscribers for like a fucking like 2-3 months now, or 2 months now. It's weird. And then like if I get past a certain choke point, all of a sudden it'll go up to like 2,400, and then it'll get stuck at some weird choke point in between like this. It's the oddest shit. I'm not sure how that works. Oh man, I get you, Pale Boy. Sadly, I'm poor mate. Got two nieces. Got to take care of. Sorry. That's okay. It's okay. I know what that's like. I got my own two kids to take care of, so I know what it means to take care of kids and putting them before any of your own bullshit. And I absolutely can't fault anyone for that, because that's what I do. Because I think it's worth it. So no problem, Pale Boy. I just don't want to make it a trend that like people just put whatever they want and I just read or do it, because then, unless that's the theme of the particular stream, because then like what incentive will there be for anyone to contribute to this project in order for me to read or interact with anything? I hate it, but that's just how it works. It's fucking true. Human beings are kind of like not the coolest when it comes to whether something's free or it's not free, right? If you make something too free for too long and then you try to change it, you usually run into problems. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it works. Like if I started just telling people like, "Oh, put whatever you want on your stream and I'll read it," it's like, okay, no one's ever going to do a super chat or join my Patreon if they know that I'm just going to do all that shit for free. And it's just how it be. Trudy and my dog pooped on my carpet last night. Just telling someone just because. Oh well, there you go. Pale boy, I understand you are fine. Pale boy, I think it's really inappropriate that you're bringing up my physical qualities, saying that I'm fine. That's ooh inappropriate. Pale boy, kidding. I'm just not in the mood. Not in the mood to do anything on of my own volition. Like as far not volition, of my own motivating resource. Like I'm in the mood today to just somebody wants to, I don't know, if you're a garden hermit and you want to send some shit at me on Garden Hermit VC, your Patreon supporter, or if you're somebody that wants to just give me like a fucking $2 super chat to read some article or look at something or whatever, that'll just like ignite enough ambition to me to go ahead and do it. If LOL, chill. I mean, okay, all right, pal. Um, if yeah, it's not worth it, then I'll just sit here. I'm so tired, so tired and so fucking sad. So sorry if that's not entertaining today. Just thoughts as usual. Nonsense thoughts. God damn it. 1 second, guys. Lord. Mofo shag pile rug in the trash. Wait, you threw the shag pile rug away because it got pooped on? Like, it wasn't like. It wasn't a situation in which you could just put some carpet cleaner on it and clean it up? Like, was it that bad? Was it like straight diarrhea all over your carpet? That's the only way I would imagine. Holy wrath, I don't like censorship. Maybe get mad about something like that, and it will help with your energy levels. I've been depressed and flat both lately. I don't like censorship. I don't. I mean, it's true. I dislike most forms of censorship to a variety of degrees. Absolutely, holy wrath. That's something I'm not a fan of because considering the flight and fancy and short-lived part of mortality, the censoring of very silly things bothers me quite a bit. No cure for what he did. Ew. All right. Well, there you go, Trudy. Burn the carpet. Destroy. Well, Holy Wrath, if you want to jump on the stream and talk about what bothers you regarding that subject, even with your flat affect and depressed behavior, I'd absolutely be willing. And I'm just sitting here on this wonderful day. Oh, I already know Karatoid. That's not a big deal. Hey, you might not get some people here on the stream. They're having a Studio Ghibli marathon and creative meets. I have some stuff to do and then sleep. No, no, no. You're good. I know zero obligation, man. Trust me. Fucking Studio Ghibli fucking stream is way more interesting than anything I'm doing at the moment. So uh, more power to all that. But there's probably other individuals that maybe will show up or something that aren't like necessarily part of the server and stuff or doing those sort of things. Either way, maybe I should have just joined that stream and chilled. But I don't feel like sitting there watching movies today. I don't think I'm in much of a movie watching, especially because I've seen all those movies. Movie watching sort of demeanor. Maybe it was something I've never seen. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure. I am not sure. It's okay. Hold it up. Everyone's at work at some point. God, I hate work. Like I hated going to work every time. Whatever job I had, and I had a variety of jobs. I hated it. Hated every minute, especially if I had to deal with coworkers. That shit was fucking terrible. Terrible. There's very few coworkers that I came across that I was like, oh, this is a person I enjoy being around. In like a non-masking, like legitimate way. Like it's like no offense to the people that I wasn't enjoying being around. They weren't necessarily malevolent or bad people. It's just I wasn't feeling it. My work is kind of far out, and I sit in a box and I just watch YouTube all day. But at least I can look forward to when you stream. Oh, okay. Like far out isn't weird, or far out like it's in the middle of a remote location. But hey, man, if you're listening to my stream while working, fuck it. That functions for something, I hope. Though this particular stream isn't very silly, it's kind of why I called it that, because I didn't actually feel very silly. So it was supposed to just kind of be a misnomer of a stream, if you will. What do we got here? Just rough. All right. Let's see here. Remote location. Oh, okay. You're in a box in a remote location? That's a bit odd. Can you say what it is you do, Holy Wrath, without like giving anything away? Then I saw a UFO earlier, but then I figured out it was either a star that's a part of a cluster or it's a planet. Yeah, I like that sort of stuff, UFOs and things of paranormal nature. It's always been something very fascinating since I was a child for me. Probably because I was generally very bored with most occurrences around me. So situations in which something a bit different was happening was probably intuitively interesting. Gravitated toward it in some capacity. Again, this is going to be a lame ass stream. Like I'm warning you right now. Not exciting, super cool, interesting stream today. Just bored, out of touch, exhausting stream. I'm a security officer for warehouse of popular yet dying company. That's pretty funny. I like that. I can think of a few things that would be categorized under popular yet dying. That's interesting. Oh, hold on. I gotta say goodnight to the kid. 1 second. All right, I'm back. Let me fix the camera. Sorry. Nope. Up, not down. Spelled the warehouse wrong. I like that. Warehouse. Where is the warehouse? WHERE would be fun. Warehouse. Watching you be exhausted is making me feel better about how burnt out I've been all week. Wendigo, I haven't seen you in a while. You found a calling. All right, what's your calling, Wendigo? Tell me. I would like to know what your calling is. So much time has passed since the last time I think I saw you jump on the stream. What is Wendigo's new calling? Lifting. Typical calling. No, but it's a good calling. At least it keeps you feeling a lot better physically. So lifting is actually a pretty decent calling. Uh, Ali, I'm new to the streams and Discord group. Just trying to figure out how it all works. Don't wanna faux pas. Sorry, I have dyslexia. Also can't spell. I don't care. Holy rep. I'm just fucking around. I don't care. I was just like loosely associated to where. You know, warehouse, warehouse, warehouse. That's all. It wasn't any kind of comment on your spelling. Um, Ally or ally, ally. I think it sounds like an ally. Well, welcome to the stream. Watch this. Welcome to the stream. This is probably not the best stream to get started on as far as like the first stream you ever watch because I'm feeling incredibly tired today. I'm not really interested in talking about any particular subject unless somebody brings something up to talk about. Then I might. In that case, whatever. I will. And I'm just waiting to see if anybody jumps on and talks about anything that I can participate in. If they don't, then it's just going to be me rambling like this for the next chunk of time, however long I decide that is. And I would recommend watching probably previous better streams, if not some of the videos or conversations I've uploaded with other people that are probably far more interesting than whatever's happening here. But if you want to see some miserable fuck on the internet sit here and be feeling semi disassociated and very depressed, then I would say this is the stream for you. Is that how I'm going to promote? Like when my streams are particularly bad, that's how I'm going to like promote them. Like, welcome to the somewhat disassociated depression stream. If you're feeling somewhat disassociated and depressed, this is the stream for you. Please join my Patreon. Please join my Patreon. Support my depression. Oh, jeez. Holy wrath. So basically, all the doctors in my Medicaid supporting health company left, so that their doctor had to open his office up to appointments. He basically agrees I don't have schizophrenia. Well, that's good. You don't have schizophrenia. Holy wrath. I mean, it's not bad to have schizophrenia. I mean, it's difficult, but not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to stigmatize this shit, but it's good that you're not dealing with as many positive symptoms as would be considered schizophrenia. That would make things probably even more difficult for you. Ali says, I get it. I'm a bit too scared to chat at moment. Interviews with Greenberg were cool. Feelings, same at moment. Totally get it. Well, there you go, Ali. Or Ali. Fuck, whatever. You know what I'm talking about, then. And, like, when I have, like, when my, like, negative symptoms are, like, flaring up in some capacity, um, like, obviously some part of me is like, ooh, just fuck it. Don't do the stream. Just lay around or go to sleep or something. But, like, some part of me is like, no, 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 because there's somebody out there feeling the same way that's just laying in their bed wishing for a backflip. And no, no. Show that you can do something, even if it's not very much. And be there for the people that are going through similar so that maybe they can finally feel like somebody's listening or understands. Because that's probably a feeling I have been searching for many, many years in my life. So I'm trying to achieve that now. Oh, let's see here. Holy Wrath. I have autism and I developed a long bout of psychosis. Oh, okay, that's what that doctor thinks. Either way, you're welcome here to hang out. Trudy, I'm happy to feel the feels that feel feely. No matter how I feel you. Thanks, Trudy. Wendigo, I sort of want to become a doctor, like so much effort when I can just die. Hey, I mean, it just depends on how far you want to take that stuff, right? But what kind of doctor are we talking? And how much is that something that would motivate you to complete? So it's a difficult thing to answer. There, Wendigo. Warda, what is the difference between how an overt and covert schizoid presents? So generally, what you're going to see is with a covert, you're going to have somebody that coughed in masks. They're always masking, probably because they adapted to specific types of behaviors, or they've been kind of studying their environment or their social environment to some capacity to have a general understanding of what sort of behavior functions to basically make it easier for them to work around it, be left alone to degrees that they would like, to have some uh, form of autonomy, not be questioned because of the social or asocial behavior they display. A lot of coverts will be sort of doing sort of the mimicking of their environment to some degree or another, and then that will in turn lead to a sense of kind of emptiness, but not necessarily a association to being somebody that's antisocial or misanthropic in any capacity, right? They may present a false front for an extended period of time, many years. In my opinion, that shit collapses after a certain amount of time. Um, I know that mine began somewhat healthy and just continually collapse over the course of the decades, in which now I'm at a point where I guess at this point I'm more overt than covert because I don't know that I can mask like I used to be able to in my 20s. I don't know. I feel like I lost the capability of doing that or the motivation to want to. So I might have transitioned to overt at some point. An overt person usually is somebody that's not very good at masking, would probably avoid any situation that would require such things because they either can't produce those sort of results or is too painful to do it. And so they prefer a complete. It's kind of they kind of become avoidance experts, and if they become avoidance experts, they are incredibly good at staying out of situations and not caring about the social repercussions of not producing a mask or producing the results that their social environment wants. And so, even if that comes at the cost of being insulted or being disrespected, as long as eventually it leads to them being left alone or they can disconnect to themselves to the rest of society in some capacity, so that they can just kind of be left to their own devices, even if the quality of life is not exactly high. That's generally what you would be talking about with somebody that's overt. Thanks, ha ha ha. I'm very over it, but still pretty sensitive. HSP, I think. Oh, histrionic. Ooh, that's a whole different ballpark right there, Ward. Whole different ballpark. Let's see here. So yeah, I also yeah fully. I gotta go back. I'm missing stuff here. He decided that since I was basically okay, that's something I can just read myself. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to showcase some of the challenges, dilemmas. Yeah, it's kind of why I don't like pull too many punches when it comes to like what I experience. Holy Wrath wants to become a therapist, but almost says it's a bad idea because I don't know how to care for other people's feelings that well. Well, maybe you can be a therapist for people that have trouble for caring for other people's feelings that well. You know, there's a requirement. There's a need for a therapist of that kind. So, when to go plague doctor? No, I want to be a general practitioner, but I feel like also I wouldn't cope well with keeping the patients calm, occasionally dealing with children. Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Well, I mean, you got to just start and really focus on that cognitive apathy to kind of get through situations of that kind. I'll probably be too apathetic to the patients. Ooh, yeah, that's not going to work. Wendigo. You can't be apathetic toward the patients because part of the healing process is a display of interest and care. Unfortunately, that's kind of just how that functions. Allie ran out of masking energy. I feel you on that. Trading your mask game's still strong. Hey, it's fine. And do it as needed. Sometimes it's necessary. Wendigo, I felt like I was masking my entire childhood. I sort of acted shy because I thought that's where I was supposed to fall in when I didn't want to talk to people. Now I pretty much make it obvious to all. I just don't want to talk to you. Sounds good. No highly sensitive person. Oh no, highly sensitive person. No, it's fine to be highly sensitive. It just schizoids are probably going to come across a highly sensitive person and go, "Oh no, what am I going to do that's going to hurt them? I don't want to hurt them." Like I guarantee you, like one of the thoughts that a lot of schizoids have regarding like people that are very sensitive, even if they're not malevolent, they're just sensitive people that can be easily hurt or perturbed. Like I'll tell you right now, most schizoids aren't gonna just think about the annoyance that you cause them. Some of them are probably gonna be thinking, I would rather avoid hurting anyone because I don't want to hurt people. So I'd rather avoid somebody that's highly sensitive because then there's little chance that I'll hurt them in some unintentional manner. That's kind of like what would go through my head at least, Warda. Wendigo, I know this sort of sounds bad, but I'm more interested in medicine than actually helping people. Yeah, I mean, medicine. That's the point of medicine. Maybe you're interested in helping people in a more abstract fashion than individuals that you're coming across from a day-to-day basis as somebody that would be a doctor. If, like, say, we're interested in doing research and experimental stuff that would lead to the helping of people um, as a kind of more indirect result, and that's something that you find interesting, then that's one way of going through going about it. Sort of this kind of meta affective empathy as I would like to picture it at least. That's what I was thinking when I made the comment, but I was too lazy to type it because nobody even cares about my opinion. Well, that might not be the case in some instances. You have to just be around the right people that are when to go. So, hey, there you go. People typing stuff. I am distracted. I am answering questions. I'm killing time. Ugh. Working towards something hopefully that's of use to somebody. Normally, I would have my own topic in mind and ideas that I want to kind of espouse that I think might be of use, but like I said, today I'm just not in no mood um, to try to think for myself. So, anything you got to provide me as a prompt in chat, or if you would like to join me on the stream in the Zoid Void, that's also very welcome. Also, very, very welcome. Damn, damn, damn. Damn, 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 damn. It's all so damnable at times. So difficult. What was I supposed to be talking about? Oh, wait, nothing. Nothing at all. See here, Wendigo says big titty Victorian era women. Well, to be honest, okay. So titties might have looked a lot bigger during such a period of time because of bustiers and things of that nature. So they might have made, something like a B cup look more like a C or a D, depending on the amount of pressure that was being placed upon the breasts. So that's a little different, right? I think if you got a big tittied woman, say somebody that's like a D or plus cup, and then put them in those similar outfits, they would probably spill out of those dresses. Um, so that's just my thought. I mean, I wouldn't say that's a bad thing either, but I'm just saying. So if someone's wearing a Victorian dress and it looks like they have um, normal sized big titties, they probably don't have actual big titties. Because if they did, and the amount of pressure that's being placed upon them in most of those outfits, um, it would probably be far more. Like, probably would require less pressure. They probably have to. I'm imagining that women in such dresses in those time periods would probably have to wear their dresses a lot less tight in order to not spill out of them in some kind of like lumpy sort of way that just looks a little odd. So they probably have to loosen certain areas more than normal so that it looks of a regular, like, mounding size. Yeah, that's my guess. I don't know much about Victorian era um, dress and the pressure requirements upon the chest in order to be sexually appealing to those viewing you, but at the same time chaste enough to not be considered advertising far too much. I don't know. That's just my random ass thought pertaining to that. I don't know what any of this means. Eating a lot of dried apple makes your poop extremely flow. Yeah, well, I can imagine that. I mean, the fiber alone, right, Judy? You're literally talking shit. How many genders do you think exist? Oh, that's a whole goddamn can of worms saying it. That's what you want. Um, as far as that sort of stuff goes, I mean, honestly, on a subjective level, I can give two shits. It's all fine. One gender when it comes to one, just one, the human gender. That's actually, you can argue that, right? But it just, I don't know, man. People separate gender and sex and all that shit. There's a whole goddamn mess pertaining to that sort of stuff. Um, all I know is that there are certain biological realities that are really kind of difficult to ascertain the difference between, as far as when it comes to like socially created sort of ideas of what it is to be this or that, and so on and so forth. But some of those biological realities, like pertaining to things like gametes and whatever, as far as like a person's ability to kind of medically judge specific types of situations and things like that, are very different than like what people want to perceive themselves as in association to their social context. Like, the whole thing's a goddamn mess. The whole thing's a goddamn mess, and That's a difficult fucking thing to answer. That is a difficult fucking thing to answer anymore. But as far as if you want to go biological sexes, I just go gametes. Beyond gametes, I go if it's just like a social thing. I don't care. You do whatever the fuck you want. I can get two shits. You want to be this or that or this or that, like whatever. The only time I have a problem with it is when people want to use that as a manner in which they can fucking flaunt some form of self identity. Like, I'm just like bored of that shit. That's just fucking dumb. Like, if you have to go around the world telling everyone what the fuck you are because it's so goddamn fundamentally important to who you are, it's just like, if you gotta advertise it that fucking much, go get a goddamn hobby. Go do some other shit. But if you're in an intimate relationship with somebody and that's something of a psychological nature that is important to you, then yeah, that makes sense. It absolutely makes sense why that's something you would discuss with a partner or something. But I just don't understand why people advertise their self-appointed identities of any kind. It's fucking mess. Like like if I wasn't doing, how do I put this? Unless, I mean, there are practical purposes to telling people, "Oh, I'm on the schizophrenia spectrum," or "I'm autistic." Yeah, yeah. There is a practical, pragmatic reason why that's something that could be mentioned or should be mentioned when presenting yourself, because it has a very deep impact on your ability to perceive certain things cognitively, and so thus it may make certain things better, but other things would be difficult for you to perform, and so because of that reason, that might be something of value to mention. But as far as like what kind of people you like to like play with your genitals with, like, I just keep that in the dating world. Nobody gives a shit or needs to know outside of that. Um, Honestly, it's just boring. It's so fucking boring. At least to me. I don't know. Maybe interpersonally, people find it so fascinating, interesting, and exciting. I do not. I do not find it interesting, fascinating, or exciting. But I am also not the type of idiot that sits around going, "Oh, it's the destruction of this or that." I don't care. In my mind, we're fucked in so many ways that any kind of concern for things of that nature just seem kind of irrelevant and superficial. Because there's a fundamentally, on a much deeper level than, say, things like gender politics or whatever the fuck, there's fundamentally something incredibly wrong, in my opinion, about the way humans interact with each other, and it has existed for long before any kind of traditionalist belief as to a better time in which humanity existed. I think it's a problem that's existed since the advent of human history. So, because of that reason, I'm just like, well, if that problem, those ideas aren't ever going to get fixed, all the rest is just fucking. It's all fucking fluff. It's all fluff. No, I care about a lot of things, Holy Wrath. Even when I'm depressed and I feel like shit, I care about a ton of stuff. The problem is the stuff I care about is either super stupid, annoying meta, or like it's some kind of cascading effect. Like, I just go, oh, if this particular problem isn't controlled and discussed and whatever, like it isn't like being acknowledged, all other problems stemming from it and putting all your focus on those problems is kind of irrelevant, because we're just going to be going through the same cycles over and over and over and over again. So any kind of efforts or gains that are made in one layer of kind of philosophical inquiry is just gonna keep getting corrupted by a base form that is constantly being left behind and not discussed about how one creates or how one decides so much of what we consider to be true and real. So that's kind of like what goes through my I guess that's kind of what goes through my head as far as that goes. It's just like, okay, well, we can sit here all day and talk about this, but if we don't ever talk about this particular idea or subject, it's probably not going to cascade into anything of value. It just feels like piles and piles of bandages. Yeah, that's how I feel about it, Holy Wrath, and it's incredibly difficult being somebody that experiences things as such, because it just feels like nobody cares about any of it anyway. And the worst part is it feels like nobody cares about any of it anyway, and it's not because of malevolence or stupidity. It's just because of the way the vast majority of human behavior and motivations have been biologically designed or evolutionarily designed to some capacity, and in combination with whatever systems we currently have in place within society, economically or otherwise. So they're blinded and distracted. Yeah, absolutely. Mainstream is always moving the conversation. Well, yeah, of course. Why would it be any other way? When you have the majority of the population having a similar experience to some capacity, they're probably having the similar blind spots being perpetuated for generations. And as those blind spots become perpetuated, they become ingrained in tradition. And as they become ingrained in tradition, any outliers of those ideas or thoughts that might actually do or create more progress in some kind of positive direction are going to be cast aside or demonized. So that's how I be. That's how I be sometimes. That's how it be. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's your question, Holy Wrath? Mother of God. Mother of God, Holy Wrath. Holy shit. You sure know how to ask, like, fucking giant ass questions. Jesus. That shit is so fucking. That shit is so fucking open to interpretation and so goddamn big that it'll just. God, it's a whole can of worms. Hold on. I'll try to talk about it. It's just. Yeah, ego. Good one, Jim Ass. Ego. That's a pretty important one. Give me 1 second. Let me just grab a drink and I'll be right back. The last one's wearing off. Okay, I am back. Okay, so there's already people like dropping shit on here. Hold on a second. What do we got? Let's see here. Lack of total omnipotence. Okay, well, is there? You mean the concern for lacking total omnipotence, or what do you? That's the big concern in America. Just so you know, these are the kind of questions that go through my mind all day, and all the connections between. That I know, Holy Wrath. I know. That's what I fucking mean. Like the shit is just so goddamn complex that it would require far more than just some drunken schizoid to talk about. Um, that's why something more specific might be a little easier. Wendigo, corporatism. Yep, that's always something to talk about. Individualism makes it more American. Oh, we like to call it individual. Got it. Got it, Sesquicentia. Sesquicentia. Re-outliers, a tradition, a winner. If that's not why SCPD is hardly recognized today, it doesn't suit current agendas or challenges it. No, yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, most people with schizoid personality disorder probably have unconventional thoughts on human society, politics, and a variety of other factors. I'll tell you right now, there's definitely not too many schizoids out there that are sitting around going, "Oh, everything's great the way it is. I just love the way it is." They're probably not thinking that. Or if they are thinking, or if they are utterly indifferent toward it, that's probably because of years and years of disappointment and confusion and disheartening. And then they're just like, why do I think about any of this? It's always going to be shit forever. Um, Corporatism, brand loyalty, cities, the internet, social media. Christ, that's what I mean. There's so much. Everything's fine. Ali says exactly. I'm not sure if it was to something I said or to a previous comment. Let's see. Holy Wrath, but I value your drunken schizoid thoughts because they relate to my schizoaffective mindset and its level of difference to the norm. Embrace Amish, says Wendy. Oh, Christ, guys. Okay, so the original thing that got brought up was, um, hold on, what was it? What do you think the single? It's just absurd. The single most important issue to fix in America right now. I don't know. I don't know. Single, like the number one. I don't know. No fucking clue. Um, could I think of things that I think are of great importance to me and might fundamentally have an impact on a variety of concerns pertaining to some of the ones mentioned? The number one issue in the world. It's a mess. Um, I would say if there was something I could change about the world that I think would improve a variety of factors, and about, well, I like to not just think about America because I don't, I'm not much of a nationalist in the sense that like I like a lot of the stuff America espouses or the United States espouses. I like a lot of the ideas. I like a lot of the ambition when it comes to like certain aspects of individualism and freedom and liberty and things of that nature. I wish that wasn't just isolated to a specific country. The fact that it's isolated to a specific country doesn't make me more proud of that country. It makes me more sad that it's not something more common. It makes me sad because, anyway, who cares? But in any case, I am interested in the spreading of metacognition. I think like the ability, the skill to metacognate is probably like something that, if taught early in life, would may lead to better outcomes for all of society, including America. The ability to just and this kind of goes back to what Jim Ass said earlier: ego. Right? The ability to look at your individual self and then just go, what am I? What is this? And then go, why do I think these things? Why do I experience them? Why do they function this way? And then have a curriculum of literature that kind of discusses those ideas and those thoughts. Basically, making someone contemplate their own thinking outside of the echo chamber that is the mind to some degree, at least attempting to do it. And then that would increase cognitive empathy, right? Because I think cognitive empathy is of much greater value to society, to human civilization as a whole, than affective empathy. 100%. I think affective empathy is important to the individual. I think the ability to connect to people in some affective fashion is a fundamental aspect of being able to feel fulfilled or reach a certain level of self actualization. Even when it comes to schizoids, which I would have long ago said that we're all cognitive empathy. No, no, we definitely possess affective empathy. It's just in the realms of ideas and concepts and more abstract thought that is generally not considered to be affective empathy, right? Like meaning that if one schizoid finds another schizoid that is struggling and suffering from certain kind of conceptual ideas in the same way they are, then they will effectively empathize with that person. Um, but in general, as far as the skill set goes, because affective empathy is just an intuitive process, right? That's something that, regardless of IQ or whatever, is oftentimes in place. That's something that uses an intuitive process in which you connect to another individual's suffering or pain or happiness because you relate to it in some capacity. And so their emotional state relates to an emotional state that you comprehend and have experienced. And so then this kind of affective empathy sort of develops, right? Cognitive empathy is far different, right? That requires you to intellectually sort of think about the suffering of others outside the realm of what you consider to be suffering or experiences that you've had, right? And you have to create an association between this type of suffering is very different than my type of suffering, but it is still suffering, right? And it is still a something that has a solution or is unnecessary a lot of the times. The type of suffering that's occurring, regardless of my own experiences, seemingly connecting with theirs on an emotional level. Now, a lot of schizoids are really good at cognitive empathy because they live in a world oftentimes that doesn't make sense to them. Because they live in a world that doesn't make sense to them, they have to adapt to it and really think about it on a more like philosophical or intellectual scale. What is suffering? Why don't I understand the suffering that they're suffering the same way I suffer, and why does the world seemingly not understand the type of suffering that I endure? And so they have to think about these things, and they have to kind of think outside themselves and outside their own thinking in order to kind of adapt and achieve some sense of thought that lets them navigate their world. All schizoids end up having to do this shit. Not just schizoids, a lot of I guess schizotypal sort of spectrum people oftentimes have to do this. Not always, but schizos, I know for sure they do this. Very common. But unfortunately, the vast majority of the population doesn't have to learn how to do this. Right? The average human being never needs to, in order to survive and thrive, even needs to, depending on the type of career or life choices they make, they never really need to develop strong cognitive empathy. There's just no need for it. And the reason why they don't have to develop such a thing is because, well, if they're a neurotypical individual, they're generally going to be surrounded by people that they will probably effectively empathize with because of similar standards of thought and similar types of values and ideas pertaining to the interpersonal and the importance, as in to prioritize such things as in value. So when you have a situation in which the majority of the population doesn't require all that much cognitive empathy because they're surrounded by people of the same culture, oftentimes the same traditions, the same kind of cognitive experience. Yeah, they're just not going to have to. They don't have to develop a lot of meta thinking as far as empathy goes. Why? Um, and unfortunately, if they did, it would allow for better navigation of cross cultural, cross traditional, cross cognitive, cross experiential, just in general type of things, right? If you're skilled in something such as cognitive empathy, in which you can see someone else's suffering that you don't relate to, but then still be able to understand the suffering occurring and the type of suffering that's happening, and then you go, you make ethical and principled and moral decisions based on that. Yeah, you're going to be able to do this with a fucking alien, right? You can have a fucking extraterrestrial person show up, and if they display suffering for some reason that doesn't make sense to you, you're still going to be able to go, oh, that suffering is similar to this suffering, which is similar to that suffering, and associate it, and then go, oh, suffering is bad, and that sucks, and we should like try to do something to alleviate that, regardless of um, me not being able to relate effectively to that suffering, right? Like let me give you an example. Um, this is oh, somebody's on here with me. Oh, did you click so I could hear you're on here with me? Who's on here? Or what were you doing, Carp?
Being drunk as fuck.
Oh, you're drunk too? All right, cool. How are you?
Fine.
Cool. All right, Carp, can you keep up or are you too drunk?
I can sort of keep up.
Okay, check this out. I'm gonna drop some shit on you, okay? Because the question initially was like, "Ooh, what single most important thing about America that we have to fix?" Whatever, and it's just like, like like beyond national borders and all that kind of shit. If you want to talk about a single most important thing, in my opinion, it was the idea of metacognition, right, and cognitive empathy, right. So, in regards to that, I want you to think of a. I'm gonna present to you a scenario. Okay, I'm gonna run under the assumption, Carp, that would you say you're an individual that has a decent amount of cognitive empathy?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna run a scenario by you. Okay, so I want to know how you deal with it. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
All right. So this won't require too much brain power. You just give me your response. Okay. You okay? Imagine yourself in a world in which do you remember the old show Alienation?
I don't.
Okay. Imagine you live in a world now in which some form of extraterrestrial life, a la even a movie like, what was it called? District 9, if you ever saw that.
I've seen it.
Great movie, right? Um,
Yeah.
so imagine you live in an environment of that nature, right? And so now there's extraterrestrials. They've been around here for a decade, whether they crash landed or otherwise, a certain amount of population that is now inhabiting Earth, right? And obviously, this is going to be causing a lot of disruption because there's going to be a lot of uh, there's not going to be much of affective empathy for human beings to be able to connect to these alien beings, right? And these creatures with entirely different concerns, entirely different preoccupations, right? Assuming they're not just like incredibly hostile, like hive mind or something, right? That's just constantly attacking. Like assuming they're just incredibly misunderstood, misattributed species, right? Okay, so kind of like they were in District 9 or Alienation or a lot of things. So okay, so imagine you come across an individual of this different species, right? Regardless of what they look like. What type would you like to make it? Like, do you want to make it like an energy being, or do you want to make it like a bug person, or something that looks kind of humanoid with some differences? Like, what do you want to do?
Well, it doesn't really matter, but I get the point that schizoids in many cases would relate more to the experience of aliens than other humans.
Well, that's the thing. They might experience that because of the disconnect, right? Yeah, that part might connect. Yeah. That's not the point I'm making, bro. The point I'm making is that if you saw an alien and it falls over, it looks like everything's fine, and then it falls over, And there's like a here. Let me think of a scenario. There's a song playing in somebody's like speaker nearby, right? Some kind of music or some kind of whatever. And the alien becomes within like more strongly audible range of it, and it falls over, and it's suffering and it's hurting. And like, what's your automatic response to that? Like, it's kind of like leaning over in pain.
Definitely to try to help it suffering, figure out what's wrong and treat it in some way.
But what if it just starts saying, what if it in whatever English it manages, it says music hurt,
Well, you tell this person to turn it off.
or you try to move them from that area, right? Right.
Right. One way or another.
Now, if you told that person to turn it off, what is the response you're expecting to get?
They're probably going to have no clue why I'm asking them because they're focused on the music.
And when you tell them it's hurting them, what do you think they're going to say?
Probably treat them like they're just being irrational for attention or whatever. It's probably how they'd react.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. You probably more have an easier time relating to a creature that is suffering from something that everyone else around it doesn't understand why it would cause it suffering, right?
Is this whole alien hating sensory input thing a metaphor for autism?
No, not necessarily. But for all cognitively to different spectrums is a good one.
Right, I was joking because it's just a funny coincidence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, but I'm more talking about like the sensitivity to cognitive empathy that a lot of schizoids possess, um, in which they can kind of, even if they don't effectively understand the emotional state and the reasons for the emotional state of that individual that they're undergoing, they could still kind of process the idea of, oh, this is suffering. Suffering sucks. Let's see, like, and the reason I say that is because a lot of schizoids just do it now. And an example I would give out, and I think Ward kind of mentioned it, is the amount of empathy or cognitive empathy schizoids have for animals, right? Like, and sometimes it's affective to some degree, but like they can see the suffering of pet or animal of any kind, right? And a lot of them are animal lovers. A lot of schizoids are animal lovers, or they like animal stuff. Because they just know suffering and they see it and they go, I don't have to understand why that animal is suffering because of something that doesn't make sense to me as a human being. I just know that I'm seeing suffering and it's unproductive and unnecessary, and it's not it's of little value to anyone, including myself, and especially to the thing suffering in front of me.
Hate when dogs are locked in crates all day because the owners don't want to deal with it barking. They deserve better than that.
Yeah, I'd prefer a dog just be properly disciplined to not have to bark all the time and then run free, right? I think that would
Right.
be much better than just fucking sticking them in a crate because they can't deal with them. How about you incentivize your dog to not want to bark by presenting positive reinforcements and rewards, and other forms of uh, like sort of motivating factors in order to learn, teach them how to be disciplined enough to not bark at all times. If you make that extra effort, suddenly your dog's not barking and is also not in a torturous position. So, good times.
Dogs are way too common for how much effort they take to take care of. People treat them like they're just a zero maintenance pet.
That's fucking absurd. No pet is zero maintenance. I mean, they have levels of maintenance, but no pet, even like people act like cats are zero. No, they're not. Cats are not zero maintenance. That's absurd.
Cats definitely aren't emotionally distant if you pet them a lot and get them to like you. It's just people treat them like they don't want attention, and so they never learn to want it.
That, and sometimes they want certain things, and people make the assumption that the cat's indifferent to it, when in fact it does want certain things at certain times. It's just a matter of understanding when that animal wants that thing at a certain time. Just like you, as an animal, wants certain things at certain times. It's just it's absurd. It's absurd that the assumption is not being kind of like there's an assumption being made about a lot of these other species, but whatever.
I agree with Holy Wrath because I have empathy for animals but don't really want to own one just because too much evolution to really
Yeah,
take
absolutely.
care of them.
See, but that's what I mean. That's like a you're making a that's literally a form of cognitive empathy you're using there. Like your thought is I don't have the energy or interest to properly maintain and take care of this animal to the standard that I feel is ethically correct. So thus, I rather not have a pet. It's think about that shit. Jim asks, I feel weird when people put on a voice and pretend to speak for a dog's perspective. It's like they turn the dog into a human, and it makes it more difficult for me to empathize with it. That's interesting, Jim. Same reason I don't have one. Yeah, that's why I don't know that I could possess a certain like a high maintenance pet myself. There's certain types of high maintenance pets I think I could take care of. Like I feel like I could if I was in a slightly better state as far as resources go. I think I could definitely be a good dog owner that would discipline and treat my dog and make create a situation and environment which my dog would be incredibly happy and healthy. I think I could definitely do that. Currently, this very second, probably not. That's why I'd rather not own a dog because I don't want to have a dog suffer under my watch. But then other weird thoughts pop into my head, such as, well, there's people out there that will own that dog regardless of such a thing, and so then they'll be completely indifferent to the amount of suffering their dog is enduring merely because they get something out of having a pet. Which the idea in and of itself sickens me. Like the idea of owning another life form for the purposes of merely entertaining myself and having complete indifference to the suffering of that particular creature makes me sick. That grosses me out. I don't like that. I don't like that. Like I'd rather own no pets than own a pet that's miserable because I lack in skill as to and ability as to how well to take care of them. I've seen people own pets that they can't take care of. Right. I've seen people own pets and that they are unqualified and unable to take care of. And the part that bothers me the most about like here dogs for a good example, right? And I'd like you to know your opinion on this carp. See if maybe you feel similar. Um, Dogs, for example, I've seen people own dogs that, as much as they say they love their dogs or they care for them or they're so important to them, they don't they don't do much to alleviate that pet's suffering or pay attention to the things that actually make that particular animal feel safe and comfortable. Maybe transparent about this. Oh, buffering, great. All right, my back. Is it back? Is it normal? I'm still taking a dump. Loop of death. The whole thing take a shit again. Low. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Just kind of quickly to get back to what I was saying before the stream's over at 9 or so. Um, Damn, I was worried that time that we would have two complete outages in one night. Now, hopefully that's not. That sounds like shit. But Carp, are you there? Oh, I think I lost Carp. Did I lose the whole stream or just Carp? Hello, hello. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's happening. According to you guys, I'm back. Um. Yeah. Anyway, I don't like people getting pets for the purposes of satisfying their own emotional needs, with zero regard to the emotional and physical needs of the pet. Because when I think of a pet, I don't even like the word. Right? When I think about a pet, he fell asleep. Maybe. Um, when I think about a pet, what I think about is you're
I'm still
you're making
here.
the oh cool, you're back. Um, you're making the conscious decision to adopt a different species of light, like a different being, into your fold, with the idea that you're going to reciprocate its needs with yours. And that requires a certain level of cognitive empathy that a lot of human beings often don't possess. And and like I was saying, oh yeah, this is what I was going to say earlier, as far as being transparent about my own experiences. I remember when I was a teenage, like a late teen, 17, 18, into my like 19, 20. Um, there was a pet in my home, but it wasn't my pet. Or it wasn't an animal that I took into my fold of my own accord. It was an animal that my family, whether my father or my mother, had decided, oh, we should have a dog. Now, I never really connected to the dog, so I just kind of let the family take care of it to whatever capacity. I was never interested. For some of these very reasons, I think. I just said, okay, well, you guys decided to have a dog, so I hope you take care of it. The poor thing. And so, those animals were not taken care of. I don't think it was anything malevolent. It was just this kind of like misunderstanding about what is the requirements of keeping a healthy dog in your home and things of that nature. And the amount of sacrifice you might have to make in order to have a healthy pet, because sometimes they can be inconvenient. And if you're not willing to deal with those levels of inconvenience, well, you shouldn't have a fucking pet. And eventually, this particular pet seemingly got sick and, well, passed away. And some of the nature of some of the sickness probably that developed could have been preventable. But by the time it occurred, it was beyond economic ability to rectify. So, and like I said, because I was just like, I'm not taking a deep involvement in this outside of my people forcing me to go out there, because they didn't want to feed, they tell me to feed or whatever. I just didn't attach myself to that animal. And yeah, I feel a little bit of guilt about that, even if it wasn't my decision ultimately. I don't know if that's relatable or weird, but it's probably part of the reason I didn't really want to have any pets of my own any longer after a situation of that nature. Negative thoughts. Negative thoughts. Productive negative thoughts. Oh, okay, Captain. What are you doing? You're streaming something? Why don't you just say you're streaming something? Silly fuck. If I could show it. Oh, wait, the captain falls asleep again? I think they fall asleep again because. Oh, wait, no, they're awake. Oh, no, they're doing things. They're moving. They're awake. It's okay. Regardless. Um, Alright, guys. Looks like we're. Time's up. Time's up, and. I don't know. Time's up, guys. Thanks for joining the stream. Thanks, Carp, for Captain. I like to call him, for hopping in. Um, Looks like you're working on some kind of 3D model or something.
No problem.
And yeah, whatever, I guess. Whatever this is worth to anyone. Hope you get something out of it. If you like the stream, if you like what I do, if you like what I work on, please support it on Patreon. Please support my advocacy for schizoids and a lot of associated peeps on Patreon, on PayPal, Cash App, whatever the fuck works for you. They're all listed in the description. Please support me there. Litecoin, fucking, I think I got Ether on there. If you don't like any of the other shit, so whatever you're comfortable with, that'll go to my Coinbase account. Whatever you're comfortable with, please support me there in whatever way you can. And if you can't financially support the project in any capacity, like say it's outside your range, on being able to do that, then the other suggestion is just spread the links, spread the word on this uh, server, as well as the channel in places that you think it might be of benefit, whatever groups or online circles you might run. The other thing too, as well, if you want something in return, like say you want, like, you're like, fuck donations. I'm not. I mean, I'm just joking. But like, say you're like, I don't care about donations. I want something in return that I can get tangible. But even if you're not thinking that, you just need something of use. I like to promote this. Me and Joanna of Mind Mastery are running something called the Schizoid. There's a link in the description, I believe. It should work. If it doesn't, please inform me. But I believe it works still. I think I updated it recently. It's a group. Right now we have it set up so you can join. You pay up front. You can have 6 sessions, each on Saturday at noon PST. And we have people that are schizoid on there. We talk about every issue we can think of, whatever pops up. Kind of lets you practice expressing some of those internal turmoils and difficulties externally around people that are comfortable. Like, you can feel safe around because they're experiencing similar, which includes me because I'll be there. And in many cases, according to themselves, Joanna themselves kind of experiences or relates to some of these issues. So, and they themselves are a psychological coach with some training and stuff, unlike me, who's just an armchair idiot, but I want to help. So, in any case, please join the Skizvoid support group and coaching group. Um, and like I said, it does cost money, and I wish it was free, but no one's bankrolling us quite yet to do this for free. So once that happens, if there's any schizoid millionaires out there, please hit me up. Outside of that, yeah, join up, and that's something that costs money, but you might get something out of. And we try our best to learn from it and try our best to make it as productive as possible when we do it. Okay. In any case, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. As usual, when day is dark, always remember happy day. And I'll find some kind of song to play us out.
Please remember that when you feel scared or frightened, never forget the times when you feel happy. When day is dark, always remember happy day.
Rows of houses all bearing down on me. I can feel the hands touching me. All these things into position. All these things will one day swallow whole. This machine will not communicate these thoughts and the strain I am under. We watch out for a circle before we all go under. Fight for life, I can feel death, can see its beady eyes. All these things into position, all these things will one day swallow.